Welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time to the channel. This video is going to be a little different. The title, When Pirates Get Pirated, is foreshadowing for the second hit. This first hit is just a normal one, what I would call a legitimate hit that we found through normal scouting. We came across, converged on the target, and proceeded to soft death it, which is what we're doing right now. I'm actually not sure who that is that's firing missiles right now. I'm not a big fan of missiles when we're trying to soft death a target. They're too unpredictable. Some of the larger sizes can outright kill a target. So for those of you that are wannabe pirates, just QED the target and use lasers and distortion. Avoid the missiles unless you're trying to kill the target, and that goes for the rest of you and the auxiliaries as well. Let's try to avoid those when we're trying to soft death the target. But I'm aware of the calibration wheel being up right now. That was a glitch. I couldn't get it to go away no matter what I tried. I kept spamming the button. I guess welcome to 3.18.2, which is when this hit took place, right after 3.18.2 was launched, and I finally got it to go away there. Also, one of my distortion cannons had been destroyed, and even through repairs I wasn't able to get it to come back. Just like in 3.18.1, the component ghosting was back, so I was having to deal with that again here. So that was a good soft death. As always, when you soft death a target in space, the next move is to surround it and light it up, meaning with your floodlights. Wait on it to come to a complete stop, and then come up with a plan, a boarding plan. First things first, we're going to close the door. You always want to close the door. Notice this time that instead of backing up to the target, I'm facing it, we are facing it, and we've got our lights on. You're going to see why here in just a second. Even though it doesn't look like this individual has left his ship, he has. And that's with several of us looking to see if he does that. So there's the cargo, and it is drugs. Not much, but drugs are worth a lot. So it's right there. I'm getting hit. I don't know from where. I look up here. I see a body floating in space with no party marker on it, and I start shooting. But as soon as I start doing that, one of my party members says, "Hey, that's me." So I hold my fire. Another party member says that he's got the target right in front of him. And I still don't see him. I think I get shot again here.
Okay. Oh yeah, he's right in front of me. He's on Smokey, my ship.
So Smokey says that, yeah, there we go. Smokey says he's got him visually.
I'm just gonna kill him. Okay?
And yeah, it's okay. Kill him.
Gladius. He disappeared.
Smokey says he disappeared, but I think he shot him and then he disappeared. Who knows? But the target was initially out of the ship, and Smokey was the only one that ever saw him. But it doesn't matter now. He's dead, and we've got an entire wing of pirates here covering the target. So this is easy. We're just going to load the cargo and be on our way. This is a good example of how teamwork and overwhelming force make piracy much, much easier. The last several videos that I've put out had been solo piracy. You know, you can't always come together as a group like this. This takes coordination and planning, and sometimes luck, which I think this time we just happened to all be on and pirating together. But when you've got a group like this, it just makes things 10 times easier. There was one last box that you're going to see here in a second was being stubborn. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go back to the ship and try to EVA as hard as I can. There we go. As hard as I can into it, and that was enough to dislodge it. So now that we've got all the boxes, it's going to be time to go sell. In the last couple of videos, you've seen me suggest that it's not always a smart move to go right in your own backyard to sell. This time, with this many of us, it's a lot safer to do that, and it's not a lot of cargo, so if we lose it, you know, no harm, no foul. So we're going to go ahead and go to Brio's breaker yard right here in the Crusader area, and what you need to do is send members of your party ahead to scout, and if it's safe and you're in the prize ship, go ahead and come on in. This was just an NPC, easy kill, and now it's time to sell. So as always, assume nothing, always have your gun out, and be ready to clear. I may not have closed the door here. Actually, it's like I did. I was gonna say if I didn't, that was a mistake. You know, always close the door. Smokey's up there on top, just chilling in his Gladius. He's on Overwatch. When I watched this video back, I didn't like that right there. I really needed to have aim down sight up and ready to pull the trigger just in case somebody was hiding in that corner. On the next hit, I do a lot better job of that, but that wasn't so great. Anyway, looks like we had 5 slam. We're gonna go ahead and sell that. That's not much. I mean, it's a good payout for one person, especially for, you know, short amount of work, but not bad. And I believe Kat was the one that found that target, so I gave her half of the cut there. Nobody else wanted anything for that, so nobody else got any. And now it's time to continue scouting. Notice that I've got a crime stat of 3 now. Several of us do, I believe. When you have a crime stat of 3, bounty hunters like to come calling. Most of the time though, and this is a little disappointing, they suck. So this was an easy kill. It's always a lot more fun when a bounty hunter actually has some skill. Admittedly, missiles are a lot harder to dodge now on 318-2. Unfortunately for this bounty hunter, I've got size 3 Thunderbolt 3s, and it is not much of anything to take him out. I will say though, if you know what you're doing, you can dodge missiles right now still. He just doesn't do a good job of it. Clearly. And now here is where things get really interesting. Turns out that one of our members, who shall go unnamed, allowed his Corsair full of drugs that he bought just to make a little bit of money to be stolen at Brio's breaker yard. And he did actually close the door. He just let somebody else get the better of him. Somebody got the drop on him and knocked him down, stunned him, then used their handheld weapon to shoot open the door of his Corsair and fly off with it. Here's the thing. We've got spies everywhere, and we have tactics that we shall not reveal in this video. And we were able to, in short order, find this would-be pirate, not one of ours, and pretty quickly get him to realize that he chose the wrong pirate and group of pirates to mess with. I wasn't actually at Brio's when the Corsair got stolen, but the 400i there is his ship. That's what was originally at Brio's. It looks like what he did is he brought the Corsair that he stole to an outer marker over the moon of Ida, which is one of the moons of Hurston. And then he went and somehow got his 400i and brought it here. He either initially had a friend with him or he backspaced, meaning he suicided to get to his home base, which I'm gonna guess is Loreville on Hurston, and pulled his 400i and brought it here. And with persistent entity streaming, the Corsair was there. That's why he left it at an outer marker, which was stupid on his part. What we didn't know when we first came upon this scene was which ship he was actually in. Obviously, he was transferring the cargo from the Corsair to the 400i because he can't sell the cargo in a ship that he doesn't own. Most of the cargo, it turns out, was in the Corsair, so he did what anybody would do.
Do you think this wise, boy? Crossing blades with a pirate?
Which was jump back in the Corsair and take off. Good thing is the Corsair is really, really slow. It boosts in a straight line to about 950. A blue does 1300 meters per second, so he's screwed. He's not getting away here unless we screw up pretty bad, and we don't. Now he does do something that at least I respect, which is put the ship in a straight line, decouple it so it continues in a straight line, and get in the turret. This is just him, it turns out. So what he does is he gets in the remote top turret. At least he puts up a fight, which you're going to see shortly. At first I thought he had a gunner, but he has the gunner. So a tip here, with a Corsair that's using the remote turret, it's on the top. You know, all you got to do is go up underneath like I am right now, and you can avoid it pretty easily. But he does catch me by surprise at first when he starts shooting. So this is not a good place to be right here. I need to be underneath. And I realize that here. Power to shields, let those recharge, and just continue the attack. So one of the things that is hard to do with a group, and it's why I mentioned earlier missiles are really bad in a situation like this, is to soft death a target without going too far. So one of the things that we're talking about here as we have his rear shield face down is that we need to prioritize who is going to continue to fire with what kinds of weapons, and the fact that his hull is red, that's just desync right there. The fact that his hull is red, and we need to start talking about reducing the amount of party members that are firing. Because if you look at that right there, I mean, we got 4 or 5 people pumping lasers into him, and it's really easy to hard death a target if you're not careful. That's why I've stopped shooting. I say that and then I start shooting again. So we call the ceasefire right there, and pretty proud of everybody for instantly stopping. We've all learned now, we know what's up. So that was a good soft death. Like I mentioned in past videos, if somebody's willing to do what he did, which was put up a fight by himself with a turret, he's probably not going to give up here either. He doesn't care, and that's awesome. That's what I want to see. It's what we all want to see, which is that even in the face of overwhelming odds, you don't give up. So our job is not over, and you don't hear us right here because sometimes I don't like to reveal our comms and our tactics, but we are just talking amongst ourselves, trying to decide who's going to board and how. See me put my speed limiter on there after I did that. That would have been a tragedy to boost into the soft death Corsair full of someone else's drugs and ruin the whole thing. So just be careful when you have soft death a target like this. Go ahead and turn your speed limiter on. Take it easy. Sometimes your party members are going to be hostile, and it's just because they've got a crime set of 3 or more, like I do now. So that's an issue. several of us have, from the previous hit, a crime stat of 3. Normally, we would tell those people to leave to avoid, you know, bounty hunters. But in this case, not everybody has FPS kits, which is something that we've addressed since this hit. And I'm one of the few that does have a full kit. So I get called on to board this target with Roland the Gunslinger, another one of our members. While the rest of the auxiliaries here maintain overwatch and fighter cover. Once again, always close your ship. Many times now, and I haven't shown this, maybe I will in future videos, many times now early on in my piracy career as Star Citizen, I've forgotten to do that, and it comes back to haunt me. Sometimes it's actually good because you can immediately rush back into your ship and take control of it and get in a fight if you get attacked by another ship. Sometimes it's bad, people get the drop on you and steal your ship. So most of the time, the right thing to do is to close the door. And once again, notice that we're facing the ship with the lights on. It makes them really hard to see us. Right there, we can see that the side hatch was open, so I just put some suppressing fire into that side hatch just to kind of make the guy think twice about coming out there. We're trying to corral him into coming out the back, or at the very least, making that his only exit. So Roland and I decided to go ahead and assault from one direction and let the fighter cover monitor the hatch and the elevator. Remember, the Corsair has an elevator that can go up to the top or all the way down. That was probably him opening the door there. We're not close enough, so we knew that that was not good there. That was a mistake, us running into each other. And there he is. It always feels good to be the one to get the kill. I would say we even compete for that to a certain extent. So I incapacitated him.
This is the day that you will always remember as the day that you...
And Reaper decides that's a good time to just go ahead and cap him in the head, which is fine by me. Now, one thing to remember, and I have mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again, is now that player has a corpse marker, a little red X on his body. So we're gonna put him on Magos Ryzax Blue that you see here, and Magos is gonna take him far enough away from the group here to make sure that this guy can't just come back to his corpse marker and find us in the act of loading all of our cargo. So again, one of our members got this ship stolen from him and his cargo stolen from him. So even pirates can get pirated. Anybody can get pirated, which is awesome. That is one of the coolest things about this game, but definitely a lesson learned. And you know, this is not guaranteed still. We've got a lot of work to do to load this cargo successfully without hard deathing this ship by hitting the interior of the Corsair as we unload it. So we come up with a plan here to have just 2 people, myself and Roland, unload the cargo from the Corsair. Unfortunately, Roland forgot to pack a tractor beam. Luckily, I carry extras. In this case, I only had 1 extra, but I did give it to him. And hopefully he learned from that. Sorry, Roland. Sorry to call you out like that, but it is what it is. But now that he's got one, we are gonna unload it. We're gonna do it front to back, top to bottom, very carefully. Remember, every little tap of a box on the inside of this Corsair reduces its health and gets it 1 step closer to blowing up and hard deathing. So we're gonna be exceedingly careful. We got a lot of cargo to move here, so of course I'll speed it up so you don't have to watch all of that. Now, my blue cannot hold all the cargo. So the MSR over there is going to pull up just above it, and eventually, once we've loaded enough into the blue, we're going to start putting the cargo up above the Corsair and start letting some of the others come over and help load that into the MSR. The Mercury Star Runner can hold a lot more cargo than the Corsair. I believe about 114 SCU. Yeah, I just looked it up, that's correct. So as you can see here, we're starting to put the cargo just above the Corsair, because you'll see in a second the MSR is pulled up just above the blue, and we're just trying to get it out safely first, then worry about loading it, and also let some of the other members load it. I'm proud of the job that Roland and I did here. We were very, very careful, and we did successfully get every bit of the cargo out without hard deathing the Corsair, which is easier said than done. But like I mentioned before, I do have a crime stat of 3, and that means that I'm visible to anybody that wants to take my bounty. I'm not the only member of the party. I believe Reaper also has a crime stat of 3. And so when we still have quite a few boxes left over, this is what happens. Yep, that's not ours. That's a bounty hunter. And it takes a little while for, longer than I would have liked, it takes a little while for everyone to realize that that is a bounty hunter. And as soon as I hear that it was, I'm like, all right, it's time to get back to my ship and either join the fight, or better yet, get it out of here and go ahead and get it to a safe area. So you can hear that fight beginning around and above us. This was a problem. I had to play Tetris here to get to the cockpit. It's not the right time to be doing that. So luckily I had plenty of fighter escort. Still can't get through. So I definitely learned from that. Next time I'm not going to block my way to the pilot seat. You saw me jump on the seat there. That was what I mentioned in one of my last videos as a way to keep yourself from being incapacitated by the cuddy seat. Click on it, then jump in the seat. So now I'm trying to decide how many targets are we dealing with? Do I need to join the fight, or do I need to get out of here? Turns out either my missiles were glitched or damaged because they won't spool up. You can see that they're selected, but the blue bar is not filling up to show that a missile is spooled and ready. So we make the decision here, and I make the decision that since I'm one of 2 prize ships, it's time to get out of here and at least get to where we're gonna sell it. The guys do kill that Gladius in short order and successfully load the MSR with the rest of the cargo, and we head to Hurston to Reclamation and Disposal Orinth, which is another salvage yard like Brio's Breaker Yard and Samson and Sons, also an identical salvage location, and a great location to sell the cargo. So obviously it's not a good thing that one of our members had a ship stolen, but in most cases, and most other players would have given up right then and there, but not us. We're not going to do that. Like I said, we have tactics that some people don't know about, and we have spies everywhere, and we were able to find this guy pretty quickly and make him realize that he messed with the wrong people. So we were happy about that. And it turned out, even though it was a counter hit, it turned out to be a really good hit. And we learned a lot from it. So right here, this is how you should enter this building. Aim down sights up. You go around the corner, ready to pull the trigger. People like to hide right there. So remember that I'm just one of 2 prize ships, and I'm actually the smaller one. Between the 2, I believe the total was, it's not that important because it's going to go back to the member that it got stolen from. But it was somewhere around 470,000 credits, if I remember correctly, total. And there is no cut here. We're just going to return all of the money back to the member of the auxiliaries that had the cargo stolen and the ship stolen in the first place. And if I can figure out how to blur his name here in a little bit, I'll do that. Just to protect his identity. So now that I've sold, it's time for me to get out of here, provide cover for Reaper in the MSR. Great landing there, Reaper. Almost screwed the whole thing, but luckily the MSR is tanky enough to handle that, and they didn't just instantly blow up. So Reaper and Boxer make the sale, and I'm just pulling up here to check on them, see if there's any cargo left in the ship they forgot to sell. And just kind of to mess with them a little bit because I like to do that. The MSR is cool too. I was kind of just taking a look at the ship. I think this may be one of my next ships that I pledge. So I actually was able to figure out the blur function here of DaVinci Resolve, which is the program that I use to edit, to protect this pirate's identity. I ended up sending him back his 201,000 Alpha UEC that I sold. Reaper sends him the rest, and it's time for us to make our exit. Please stay tuned for the next video where I make my first and dramatic escape from Klesher Prison with the help of my friends. Please like, subscribe, and share, and until next time, I'll catch you in the verse.